So now that we have our flat color kind of dropped in with a vector outline, I'm just going to go back to this early handout, and we've gone through the first little arc here, which looks simple, but honestly these are the main skills that are necessary for someone who wants to be a digital artist and designer and illustrator. It's that big leap. Of course it helps to know how to draw, but it's a big leap from going from a sketch to clean vector outlines. You know, where it's just going to scale up and it could be on the side of a semi-truck and look really clean and not have all these little wobbles and imperfections in it. So that's why we take the time to make them vectors. Once you have the vectors, you can just drop in flat color in Photoshop. You could also do that in Illustrator, but the benefit of doing it in Photoshop is you keep your vector outline a smart object that's infinitely scalable, but you don't lock in certain color solutions into that vector. So then you can have a lot more fun playing with color solutions. And so I could take this same bird and color it, you know, multiple ways. I can make a paisley version, a polka dot version, all using the same vector outline. So it's a really good skill to be able to do outlines as vectors. So if we go into bringing this new design into Photoshop, let's look at the layers we've set up. The first layer is that vector smart object. And it is a vector smart object because we dragged it in from the desktop. That is important to know. It never forced us to rasterize it. So it will just perfectly fit whatever resolution we give it. And so we're looking at a raster image, but we're looking at a raster image that's constantly being outputted from our vector, which is why we can't work with it without rasterizing it. We don't want to rasterize it. So to make sure I don't rasterize it, I'm going to turn off the effects for now, and I'm going to hit the lock, so it won't ask me to rasterize it anymore. Because generally when the computer says, do you want to do this? Okay. You think, oh yeah, trust the computer. But in this case, no. You do not want to rasterize your vector. But even though it's locked, even though it's a smart layer, you can use your magic wand with contiguous turned on. Photoshop's really good at selecting empty space, and you can select empty spaces to fill with a color. So you select them on your line work layer, your vector layer, but then before you can drop in any color, you move to a new layer. And I call that my flat color layer. And so we fill in with white, for instance. Now, I've filled in everything within my illustration, but it doesn't mean that these are the right colors to use or the perfect flat color solutions. And sometimes, if we look at the desktop example, sometimes the flat color solutions are as good as they can be for the parameters you're trying to go with, and this was having to use school colors, but they're just not that exciting. So let's do the best we can with flat color first. And I find the best way to experiment and see different solutions in flat color is to open reference image. So I'm going to take these two images I found online that I liked the colors of, and I thought applied to this. And I'm also going to open those in Photoshop. Not in Preview, not in another program, but in Photoshop. And each of them is on its own tab along this top bar in Photoshop. I want to select my work first, so it has dominance, and I want to go to Window, Arrange, and I want to show all of them. And I want to do it with this 3 upstacked orientation. And I'll usually do 3 upstack even if I have like 6 different references, because then my main illustration is largest, and then I could have 3 other illustrations here that I could flip between, 3 illustrations here that I could flip between, and I can adjust these window sizes by pushing the borders around, by zooming in or out on them. But really I'm just going to use these for reference and to steal colors from. Just kind of scroll around and look at. All right, if I want to fit this within the window, I can hit Command 0, And now the goal is to stay with really simple tools just on my illustration. But the way I'll use my reference is to steal color from them. So what can I mess with? Well, I have this kind of orange or brownish tan that I used, but maybe I want something a little bit different. Like maybe I want the beak to be a little bit brighter. So I go to my flat color layer. I'm going to use my stylus here, but you can do it just as easily with the mouse. And I'm going to be on my flat color layer. I have a black, a gray, and a white background behind it, but none of those really matter. In fact, I can lock all of those. So the only layer I'm editing is my flat color layer. And I guess I'll make it easier to see by putting the gray behind. So there's the black. There's the gray. On my flat color layer, I can just use the magic wand and select the beak. And I can also hold down Shift and select the lower part of the beak as well. And then I can use the paint bucket, hold down Option, and steal a color to drop in. Then I can hold down Command and go to the Move tool, or just hit Command D to deselect. Go back to the magic wand, and maybe I want to change this to the dark color, the duotone dark color. So I go to my paint bucket, hold down Option, steal that color, drop it in. Now once you steal colors, they'll be added to your swatches. You see these are the most recently used swatches. So even if you don't know where you got the color but you liked it, you can steal it from yourself, or you can maybe find it in your swatch history here. So that's a helpful tool. All right, I like that kind of tan a little bit more than this kind of orangier one. So maybe I'll take that, I'll deselect, and now that I know I like that color and I have it selected, or I have it filling my foreground, I can just drop that in and replace that for the other colors. And if I want to do it one at a time, I can do that with the magic wand and then drop it. But I think I want it on all of them. All right, then where might I be able to use some of these other colors I found? Well, I think I want the feet maybe. Hold down Shift, I can select multiples. This is all just on the flat color layer. And just like this. This is flat color with white behind it. And I might replace that with this brighter orange. And I like that. That kind of makes it tie into the red of the kind of tiger's head a little bit more. Now, I like the eyes the way they are, but the white of the eye here and the highlight in the eye, I want that to be a little bit more dramatic. So maybe the white of the eye, I can make the light cream color. So here I'm going to use the magic wand. Select that space, hold down Shift, select it on the other side. Paint bucket, now I'll just steal the color from myself. Holding down Option, steal it. Now, I might think that's a little bit too dark still. And so then I can modify the color I've painted. It's still selected, so now I go up to Image, Adjustment, Levels, and I can brighten it up. I don't want white, but I want it to be brighter. You can do that with hue saturation, do it in lots of ways. And yeah, I think that's getting closer. Now, maybe I want these to be that orange. Nope, not all of them, but maybe these. And I'll steal that orange from myself with Option. So we're learning how to steal colors by using Option to quickly access the ink dropper tool. So that's a little bit more dramatic. I like that. And now this shape. the inside of the wing. I know I want it to be a different color than the outside of the wing. But it's an open shape, so I can't just use the magic wand to select it, because if I do, it will select that whole wing. So what do? It's pretty simple. Once it's selected, I can use the lasso, sorry, little brain stall there, the lasso to modify the area I'm selecting. So what I'm going to do is hold down Option, and that turns my lasso into a subtraction lasso. And I'm going to decide where I want to cut that shape. And I cut it right there. And then I can kind of sweep around the other parts of the wing. I have all that empty space in between those colors to select it. And I can always modify it more if I need to. And now, actually, I don't even need to cut it out more, because now I can hit Command J. Because I'm on my flat color. If I turn off all the other layers so you can see what I'm looking at, I've selected just that chunk. If I hit Command J, it will put it onto a new layer all by itself. Now, as soon as I do that, I am no longer flat coloring, because I am changing the same fill local color from one tone to two tones. Right? Because it's not outlined. So this is what I'm going to call my duotone layer. Duotone color layer. So I have flat color underneath, and that's all there, and I should be pretty happy with that, with this flat color solution. But now I'm going to start adding duotones, and I'm going to start with the interior of the wing. And I only need, I can use the magic wand again, this part. So, what do? I can simply take that duotone color, that part of the wing that I selected, and I can play with image adjustments and levels. If I want true duotone, the most basic duotone is just adding white and black to your local color. So if I want the inside of the wing to be lighter than the outside of the wing, then I'm going to shift my midtone level slider to the left. And I get a lighter blue. And yeah, I'm liking that. That's more of the effect I want. If I wanted it darker, I would move the mid-tone slider to the right. And these are all my kind of duotone variations on that local color, both tints and tones. Now for this side, the shape's going to be a little bit different. And if I realize I want that shape to go a little bit beyond, what I have, I can just take the lasso and I can just cut, lasso, on my duotone layer, just cut out a shape. So I'm on my duotone layer, but I could be on my flat color layer as well, as long as I don't color until I'm on my duotone layer. And I decide where to cut a shape, like so. And as long as I am behind the line work, I can then fill that shape in with my new color. And I can extend it. But I think I like it better on this side, cut right there. So how do I go about it on the other side? Well, there's a few things I can do. One way that worked pretty well is I go to my flat color layer. And remember, the flat colors are only these fills, things between the outlines. And I can simply select that wing, right? Duplicate it. And then use the lasso